And I'm so excited because at least this time we can now be more connected to many people about their Feng Shui.
Diba, of course, love is a choice. So, syempre, since we're both part of the showbiz industry, importante para sa amin na hindi makinig sa ibang tao. And kasi, syempre, kung makikinig ka sa bawat opinion ng mga ibang tao, makikinig ka sa mga sasabihin nila, mas lalong magkakaroon ng misunderstanding sa isang relationship. It's more of like we choose to listen to each other.
Me as an individual, as a unique person, I feel that you are your own icon. You know, you have to have your own personality, shine in whatever.
You have to take control of your destiny. Wag mong aantayin na may magandang trabahong dumating sa'yo. Go for it. If you think you can do it, go after it. You know, you have to take charge of your destiny because it is your life. And ambition ka sa buhay, run after your dreams, chase your dreams, and it will happen.
Kasi kahit na napakaswerte natin, if we don't do the work, it will never happen. Pagdating ng araw, ipapakita namin sa buong mundo na kaming mga Filipina, we are good people. That is just a stepping stone for us to achieve what we want because of love for our family.
Nakaka-in-love.
Nakaka-in-love. Alam mo talaga, totoo yan, Marites. When you're traveling, just the two of you feel young. Yung parang it's just yesterday. You know, we've been married for 17 years, pero pag nagbabiyahe kami, it's like we're dalaga binata na, kaya nga, age is just a number because the heart never grows old.
I realized that sex therapy was a very narrow, limited field, and to really help and understand the person, you really have to take clinical psychology. The greatest sex organ is the one between your ears, di ba? Not between your legs. So that is why I decided to get a PhD in psychology and clinical psych.
Making the right choices in my career has led me to the leadership role that I am at now.
The word is channeling your pain into positivity. You have to. Because what's the point? We're here for a very limited time in this life and we've got to make the most of it. And this year more than ever should have shown how important it is for us to push forward, for us to be smiling, for us to be happy. If you don't want to do something, change it. If you don't want to be somewhere, move. Do whatever you can to be happy because this is it. You can't come back and do it again.
During my college days, then I started buying cheap makeup, and then I started seeing people paying. I could actually earn from it. So like, oh my God, I could really earn from by doing the thing that I love doing.
Because for me, it's about educating ourselves because we are in two different generations. But at the end, we will embrace and kiss and say, I love you.
I always feel that being a woman is an advantage because you can charm your way, diba, sister?
Yeah.
If you're smart, you can do many things, no? Pretty and smart. Wow, you can do so many things.
I want to make children happy. That is one of the most important purpose that I had. So I said, I had to teach children how to play with it.
If you just live one way forever and you don't pivot and you don't move, you will never grow. You will just be idle. And if you're idle, then how will you progress, diba?
Changing the habits to keep your energy level balanced and take the advantage to take care of yourself, pamper yourself with shea butter. You know, it was something that I was doing a lot.
Keep dreaming about the Philippines because when you wake up and when you do make good of your travel to the Philippines, we assure you of the same promise that it will be more fun and safer Philippines which you will visit.
Marketing is to build awareness. Branding is tell people who you are. Find your target market, where they are, where they gather, and what's their lifestyle. So never be scared by your difficulties.
Kayo pa rin ang mag-decide kung gusto nyo maging masaya, maging malungkot. Tanggalin na yung lungkot, di ba? Tanggalin yung problema, doon ka lang sa happiness. Yun palagi ang pipiliin mo, happiness.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another Fun, Fortune, and Feng Shui episode here on the Marites Allen Show. Today, I'm very, very excited because I will be joined by my very, very good friend. In fact, somebody that I really look up to, and I'd like to share them to you. So, welcome once again to our viewers in the Philippines, in the US, or anywhere you are in the world, even here in United Kingdom. So thank you. It's a very nice afternoon here in London, and I know it's evening time there in the Philippines, and a good morning there in New York. So in today's episode, my friends of Fun, Fortune, and Feng Shui, it is actually all about uplifting conversations. This time, we have invited Dr. Rakish Rana. He is an executive life coach who helps high achievers develop better relationships and find happiness and purpose in their usually stressful lives. Who doesn't have stress these days, my friends? He has a practitioner's diploma in executive coaching and a member of the very prestigious International Coach Federation, or ICF. He has recently been accepted into the Forbes Coaches Council, an invitation-only community that select business and career coaches based on their personal and professional achievements and honors. He is known as the Clear Coach. CLEAR is an acronym for the 5 values that he brings into his coaching practice. So join us today, my friends, in welcoming my very, very dearest friend, Dr. Rakish, onto the show. Hello, Dr. Rakish.
Hello,
Welcome.
Marita. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. And welcome. How are you? How have you been?
Very well, very well. As I was watching the pre-roll, I was just so impressed with the guests you've had on already, and I've got a lot to live up to and some expectations to meet, I think.
Well, thank you. Well, I have good mentors like you, you know. I mean, remember when we were meeting at the, how would say, at the middle of the pandemic? That was sometime in July or August when we came to London. And, you know, it was really like something that you have to be productive, you know. So if you cannot meet people on a physical time, I cannot see them, then maybe this is my own way of sharing an hour of my time every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on my show. So I can, you know, I can share to people that there are many things that they can do, you know, regardless whether it's pandemic or no pandemic, right?
I agree, completely agree. I mean, it's, I did a similar thing with my own podcast when I started it. It was during the pandemic, and it was a way to connect. It's to bring voices and inspire others. So yeah, I love what you're doing, and completely agree.
Thank you, thank you. Now tell me, at the introduction, we were mentioning something about the CLEAR. You know, the acronym CLEAR. How did CLEAR came about? What is CLEAR?
Yeah, of course. It came about through my own coaching training. When I was going through my studying to become a coach, doing my practitioner's diploma, there's a question that was asked at the beginning of the training. Who am I? And that question wasn't just supposed to be about, you know, I'm Rakish Rana, I do this. It wasn't a resume, but it was about, by the end of the training, I needed to be able to answer it in a coaching way. You know, what kind of a coach am I? How do I coach? So who am I as a coach and as a person? So CLEAR was the acronym that I came up with at the end of my coaching program. And it's essentially the values that I hold true and the framework that I use with my own clients, but also something that I guess I use throughout life in terms of relationship building. And it's C for connection, L for language, E for enthusiasm, energy, A for awareness, and R for results. And these are the five underpinning guidelines.
E for connection, L for
language, E for energy,
E for energy, okay.
A for awareness, and R for results.
Oh, fantastic. Amazing.
Yeah.
So that is, carry on.
To expand upon that, what I firmly believe is, you know, would see the connection. When I meet clients, I need to be able to connect with them. They need to be able to connect with me. And again, that's throughout any relationship we have. If we want it to be successful, there needs to be a connection. So what is it that we need to do? As in business and marketing parlance, people do business with people that they like and they trust and they know. So it's about creating that connection somehow, whether it's through body language, to how we treat people, how we're receptive, how communicative we can be. And then very similar is language. Often, here we are, we're from different nationalities. Okay, we're both in London at the moment, but right now we're speaking to people across the world. But language is so important. It's not just the spoken language, but how is it that we're understood? So it's very key that we're understood too. So language is very important, especially this day of age where we're using electronic devices, we're sending emojis. When we send something, is that what was meant to represent? Are we being understood? So it's very clear that language is important. And then energy. You and I both know how important energy is. And in a relationship, energy is so important. We need to be able to live off each other. We need to be able to draw from each other's energy. So I think it's very important that we have high levels of energy in a relationship, especially when it comes to coaching. And then awareness. Too often, or very often, when people come to me and want to work with me, they're only solely focused on one thing: how to get somewhere. And without raising their awareness, they can't see the other opportunities that there are there. So I always say this, not only with a client, but with other relationships, it's our responsibility to raise one's own awareness, but those around us, to be able to create a better relationship. And then finally, results. Too often, we don't focus on the results because we get so caught up in the journey. I think the journey is very important, but too often we forget why we're doing it. So it's important to stop every so often and to be able to celebrate the results, not just the far goal, not just that huge goal that we're after, but some of the smaller results along the way. Because it's by recognizing and celebrating these smaller results that give us the confidence and motivation to keep going. So it's so important. And that, again, not just with my clients, through any relationship, is celebrate your relationships.
Wow, wonderful. That is a very, very good reminder to everybody. Because like what you said, we all being caught up with our everyday work, with everyday, that is our journey. But then we fail to celebrate even the smallest wins or achievements. And these are results that is really worth.
I will tell you now, I was guilty of it last week myself, and here's me telling others how they should behave, and I was guilty of it myself. And as you rightfully pointed out, I was privileged to be invited to join the Forbes Coaches Council, and that came through last week. But however, I've been working for so long. For me, it was just it's happened, and I just took it as it is.
Yeah.
It took my friends and families to remind me what a big deal it was. And it took them to actually say to me, wow, that's so impressive. And it was only later on in the day and later in the evening where all of a sudden I was feeling overwhelmed, thinking, wow, it is a big deal. I didn't stop long enough to really recognize my achievement there. So, got to live by my own words.
Wow. Well, you're the guy. You're the man. Congratulations. So to our viewers right now, let me just refresh you from our guest today. He was just recently been conferred. This is only an invitation only. Life Coaches Council of Forbes, which is a very, very prestigious. If you are being invited to one, wow, you are the guy. You are the one. So congratulations. To those who are watching us right now, Teresa Kramer, I know you're from Netherlands. Please indicate your country you're watching. Thank you so much. We have JB. Thank you so much for watching. We have Juliet, and of course, Dexter Alasas, thank you so much. Miss Glore, thank you for watching. And Joyce is watching from California. Of course, we have the beautiful Reina. Hello. And Leonore, thank you so much for watching from Cebu. And then if you have some questions, you tell us later. And then because this is like your chance. If you have something that you would like to, you have concern. Sometimes it takes another person If you have some issues, this is always what I gather from my consultation, Dr. Rakish. Sometimes the parents would bring their children to me. Can you please talk to my daughter, talk to my son, etc. Because it's when they can open up and talk to you. Now, tell me, when you were like, I would say, growing up, we all don't know what we want to do in life, right? But was there an inclination to you when you were like a lot younger, when you were in university, that this is going to be the field that you're going to go through one day?
Not at all. To be honest, I didn't even know what a life coach was up until I was at least in my 30s, I think. So, I'd never even heard of life coaches. I think the first time I ever came across a life coach, I was in my corporate career. And even then, I didn't actually understand what that person did. And I just found it strange that somebody would want to spend time to just allow me to talk. And I just didn't grasp the context.
Pay.
Exactly.
Spend time and pay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and to be honest, it was a journey. It really was a journey to get me into coaching. And it was actually through being coached myself eventually that I realized how powerful it can be. I mean, my aspirations as a kid was to be an astronaut or a pilot. They never came true. But, there's no regrets in life, as I say. I am where I am. And I take what I've done as a life lesson going forward and try and apply it into everything I do.
Yeah, and you become like, a more equipped person. You came from the University of Life, so you have more to offer to others as well. So tell me, your academic background is in IT and project management. Why did you decide to become a life coach? Like, what was the turning point? When was this? When did it start?
Well, I'll take you back a little bit further. So I'm the eldest sibling of this four of us, but also I'm the oldest of quite a big extended family. I've got like 20, 30 cousins where I'm the oldest. So I was always the person that people came to for help. And then academically, from an Asian background, it was very much to impress that academically you had to be very strong. So for me, it was focused on schooling, academia. And then eventually I went to university, did my bachelor's, I did a master's, I did a PhD. And I was thinking my life was going to be about science. I was going to be a scientist. And during my PhD, I also looked after the pastoral care of undergraduate students. So it was an opportunity there to look after people. So I was the go-to person for help and care. By the time I got my PhD, I think I'd gotten tired of science. I didn't want to stand around in a laboratory coat. So an opportunity presented itself where a role as an IT professional for an investment bank came up, and they were looking for non-IT PhD graduates. So I kind of fit the bill. And I thought, well, I like a bit of IT, I was a bit of a technical geek. So I took that opportunity. But as soon as I started working, I felt something was wrong. All up until then, life was just kind of laid out for me. I had a purpose, to get this qualification, do this degree, or do this, and whatever it was. There was always a goal. But when I started working, there was no goal. It was just there, and I felt unfulfilled. And to be honest, life just carried on. The work was good. I was getting paid well. I started getting promotions. I got married. We bought a house. We had children. We had the holidays. We had the cars. Life just went on. I was happy but never fulfilled, and I was always lacking direction. And I guess it was around, I think it was about 8 years ago now, so about 12 years into my IT career, that I came across this guy, and he was a workshop facilitator, but he was also a life coach. And I kind of really liked what he was doing. And one day I went up to him and said to him, listen, could you coach me? And he had to think about it. He got it cleared by my company. And he said yes. And it was through being coached, he made me realize what it is that I really enjoyed in life. And if I look back, I always helped my cousins. Through my education, I helped others, whether it was through mentoring or pastoral care of students. And then through my career up until then, because I was a professional, as an IT professional and as a manager, I was always looking after the welfare of staff. I was always developing them, making sure they were happy, looking after their welfare too. And it was just like that light bulb moment going off. For me, it was all about care. I care about people. I care enough to want them to do really well. And it was that moment where I realized that I want to coach. I want to help others through coaching. Because up until then, I always told people what to do. when you tell people what to do, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. It doesn't matter how good advice is. And I'm sure people tell you what to do and you'll say to them, that's really good, but you don't always follow through with it. Because the difference between telling somebody and coaching them is coaching gives them the power to make that decision theirs. And therefore, they're more likely to follow through. So for me, at that point, I decided I wanted to be a coach. And from then on, I threw my life into coaching. I became a coach. I studied about it. I still carried on doing my IT role as well. So I balanced doing coaching with my permanent role.
That's
And
right.
I did that for about 4 or 5 years before I became a full-time coach about 2.5 years ago. And
Wow,
that's my
fascinating.
coaching.
Wow, that is so fascinating. And I think I suppose, do you have like a specific set of like clientele based? Like, is it like more executives? Is it more male, female? Is it like young generations? Uh, is it, can you walk us through on the different clientele base that you have?
Of course, of course. I would say my clients are all sorts. They range from people in their early 20s all the way people up into their 50s. They also vary between, I would say 70% women, 30% men. And the only reason that is women are a lot more in touch of what they want. They're more in touch emotionally, whereas men have this bravado, this ego that they put up, that everything's okay, I can manage everything myself. They don't want help. And I think people shouldn't view coaching as help. They should see it as a tool to become even better than they are. Exactly. When you look at elite athletes, you can get so far on your own, but Olympic athlete, world champion, they all got coaches. So it's the same thing with life. You could do really well, but to excel, to be even better, is use a coach. And people unfortunately confuse coaching with therapy, where therapy can have a bit of negative connotations, but even now, it's being seen as positive in terms of mental health, mental well-being. So I'm really hoping that people can get educated on what coaching is and use it for the positive benefits it gives.
That's right. That's right. So, are you saying that the word life coach, therapy, sometimes when people talk about it side by side each other, in this 21st century, a lot of people still think of it negatively, or what do you say? Or people are becoming accepting of it now?
I think people are becoming accepting of, let's say, therapy, but here's the perceived notion that you go to therapy because you have a problem.
Yeah.
What the past year has shown, that actually you don't need to have a problem to have therapy. Sometimes you just need somebody to be able to talk to. Sometimes you're just not feeling well mentally, and it's just an outlet to maybe pick up some tools or techniques that can help you become more balanced. But that's therapy. Therapy is very much about focusing on the past and dealing with maybe trauma or issues to become healthier. Whereas coaching can use similar techniques as therapy, but it's very much about future focus. Coaching deals with goals, it's about the path forward, and that's the difference. And that's why I always tell people that when all they want to talk about is the past, so for me, that's a bit of a flag to say that maybe they want therapy may be beneficial for them rather than coaching. However, if people are saying, look, I've had issues in the past, I haven't been able to deal with this, but actually all they talk about is the future, for me, yes, they're probably ready for coaching. So that's the difference.
Wow. So, my friends, to those who are watching us right now, if you have, if you want some questions, you better take the chance to ask Dr. Rakish. It's your chance now. So, to ask him questions, and who knows where it could lead you. In fact, we will be flashing on later where can you contact Dr. Rakish as well. In fact, the ones that we were showing earlier, it's on Instagram. The IG is The Clear Coach. Yeah, that's it. We were flashing it right now. You can visit him or follow him, theclearcoach.com. Now, I'm not sure, Dr. Rakesh, because in Asia, I'm just trying to like let our viewers understand as well that there are different connotations in terms of having somebody coach somebody from Asia or somebody from, say, Europe. Now that we are in England, for me, because I was, I've been married for a long time to my British husband, and we travel a lot. So these things for me are just so natural. Like, oh, you go and see a therapist or you go and see a coach. For me, it just comes so natural. Like there's no know nothing at all about it. It's a help. For me, it's a help. Help in a way because there's something wrong with you, or help because you just need somebody to talk to and maybe reconfirm your thoughts, your decisions. How is it here in Europe? Is it just as it is, as casual as it is, or there's also a norm about asking help?
So for here, I do believe that generally people globally have a reluctance to ask for help. It's not ingrained in us really. Even though at school they do say, if you've got a question, ask for help. But I think something happens as we grow up where we stop asking for help. And I think it's important that we do it, because actually happiness comes from helping others. Science has shown that we are the happiest when we help others. So I actually say that if you ask somebody for help, you're not hurting them. In fact, that you're making them so happy if they're going to be able to help you. So for me, asking
That's right.
is important. It really is. And here's the other thing with coaching. You're right. It's an opportunity where it allows somebody to be in a space that's safe without being judged. Very often we may reach out to friends or family for advice. Some family know us really well, so they think they're able to advise us really well. But actually what they're doing is they're using their experience and what they think they would do rather than what might be best for you. And I think the difference between a coach is to just reflect things back and for you to decide for yourself what is best for you. Because I'm, as a coach, never going to tell anybody what they need to do. In fact, as part of our training, we're told we're not allowed to advise people. So everything that comes out in a coaching session is through me challenging them with questions. And by answering the questions I ask of them, they come up with their own answers.
Oh, I see. Wow. Okay. So advice. So the coaching is really more on guidance, right? Walking them, holding their hand. Do you wanna go from, I don't know, from A to B?
Yeah.
How do you get there? Let me hold your hand so I can guide you to go there. But an advice is something different, right?
Exactly. With that, it would be more about you're at A and you want to get to B. I'll tell you how to get to B. Go on your own. Here you go. Here's my advice. Do this. Left here. Go right there. Do that. That's advising. Whereas you're right. Coaching is very much about hand holding. Okay, how can I support you in this journey? Okay, you're feeling now. Well, okay, what can we do to get through this challenge? You see an obstacle there. Where have you experienced obstacles like this before? How have you overcome these obstacles before? Are you, so it's questioning them and getting them to see for themselves how they can get through challenges, get over challenges, and get around challenges. That's the key of coaching.
Wow, amazing. I mean, I didn't realize, because normally, like what I said, in an Asian way, instead of people like consulting a professional, they would say, hey, go and talk to your auntie or go to talk to your mother. And of course, our perceptions are different. And sometimes people who are very close to you would like to tell you or advise you what you would like to hear, right? And we have the considerations of, I don't want to offend you, I don't want to hurt your feelings and everything. So thank you so much for opening our eyes into this professional life coaching, Dr. Rakish. And in a few minutes, we will be playing our break, a very, very few minutes, secondary break. And if you have some questions to all of you who's watching us right now, thank you. If you have any questions at all on if something's bugging you and you would like Dr. Rakish to answer you, please, join us. And we will be very happy to entertain your questions. So in the meantime, Dr. Rakish will be back after this few seconds of intermission. Hello, everybody. This is Marites Allen. I bring you fun, fortune, and Feng Shui.
Hi, Ms. Marites.
Just being uniquely yourself, being comfortable.
All the past experiences made me stronger. It made me more open-minded.
Our message was, be who you are, find your purpose, and work with it.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
See? You sent me.
I knew stage was my place.
As long as you have that happiness in your heart, I think you'll be considered successful, right? And you'll do well.
It's not just about luck, fun, fortune, and Feng Shui. It's really about a way of living.
At the end of the day, what matters is love.
Do what your passion is.
And you have to be like the representative of what you do. You represent makeup, you represent beauty. You have to be beautiful to start with.
The engineering capability of the Philippines is a little bit more advanced.
Because feminism means so many different things to so many people.
Really perseverance, hard work pa rin in finding success.
The Philippines was voted and awarded as world's leading dive destination for 2 years in a row.
Parang kontento na ako kung ano yung meron ako ngayon. Tapos kung ano yung mga darating.
So brand is more about who you are.
Rakish Rana, the Clear Coach. I help my clients by challenging, encouraging, and supporting them to reach their goals. We remove self-limiting beliefs, gain confidence, and have motivation to take action. Are you ready to make a change?
There you go. Welcome back once again, mga kaibigan, with our very, very special guest, life coach, the Clear Coach, Dr. Rakish Rana. So, Dr. Rakish, can you walk us through what happens during a coaching session? So, say we flash on the screen, this is how we can contact you. And then, of course, regardless of our location nowadays, anywhere you are in the world, they can actually book you, right? So what happens after that?
So what I tend to do is we have an initial consultation call. So it's scheduled for about 45 minutes to an hour. And in that, people get to experience coaching. Because usually when I take on my clients, it's a period for 6 months. So it's about 10 coaching sessions, because in the end, coaching is about transformation. It's about creating better habits. And it's about a transformation of mindset. And that doesn't happen overnight. It takes a bit of time. So therefore, that 6-month period is about right for people to really go on and engage and drive towards their goals. What essentially, I use the framework I talked about to be able to connect with people. And we based that session around a lot of various coaching models. The one that I specifically work on, I suppose, and it's one that I think all coaches get trained in, is GROW. GROW. So G is for goal, R is for reality, O is for options, and W is for the ways forward. And what we do is I structure the conversation. So we talk about what a person's goals might be. Once we figure out what the goals might be, we figure out what their reality is. Where are they right now? Where are they stuck? What are the problems? What are the challenges? What are the issues? And then we discuss, the options. What are the options that you have? What is it that you could do? What are the ways forward? What are the other goals that you could look at? And then the way forward, it's the willingness. So we try and identify challenges that might be stopping them from going forwards. So that's how we structure the call. So it's based around the GROW coaching model, but it really gives them an understanding of what their goals may be, what's stopping them achieving them, and how they can go on and achieve them. Obviously, that's a great takeaway just in one session. But in that one session, what I'm hoping that they get also is the power of coaching. Just that small experience to show them that actually doing it over a 6-month period, they can actually go on and achieve so much more. Because just having one coaching session gives people ideas, but as you and I both know, you can take a good idea, but unless you have that continued support, sometimes you don't always follow through with that idea. So as a coach, what I provide is that motivation, that support, that challenge, that encouragement for them to go on and achieve the goals that they really want to go on and achieve.
That's right. Wow, amazing. Are there any chances that, sometimes because women, if the client, the one seeking coaching is as a female or a woman, we become more like emotional as opposed to men, right? Would you say it's women are difficult to handle or what?
I must admit, through being coached, obviously we talk about all sorts of things. And sometimes when we're talking about some of the challenges and some of the reasons why there might be mental blocks, it can be traumatic or quite challenging or quite difficult for them. So yes, emotions do rise high. And quite often, I kind of joke with my clients that if they haven't cried in at least one session, I'm not doing my job. But,
really? Yes.
Coaching can be very emotional, and it's not just men as well. You see it in their faces that sometimes they want to achieve something, but something's been stopping them, and it's through being coached they understand what that blockage is, and it becomes quite emotional, and they realize, oh my God, it was that easy, or it's like, oh, I can't believe it was that. It was almost like a burden is lifted once they have that realization, because when they have that realization, they have a choice. They can then do it.
Wow. So would you say that your expertise would tackle like one would say like professional in terms of say, okay, I have an issue with the business. For example, can you please coach me? Is it better to have a partner, business partner, or no? Is it better for me to be on my own? Or do you also go for like personal issues, like like couples issues? Are there any difference, or would you like say I am an expert into like a business life coaching as opposed to relationship coaching? Where is your expertise, or you do all of them?
Well, I would say a lot of my clients, I think I probably didn't answer your question. I think you asked it in the earlier segment of the kind of people I coach. So predominantly I coach a lot of entrepreneurs and people who run businesses. Not because that's been my expertise, it's because that's what's naturally happened. Because of my 20 years of corporate experience, there was a lot of structure and process. And I find that that lends itself very well to the chaotic lives of entrepreneurs and small business owners, because it allows them, for me, to not only coach people, but also mentor and guide them as well. However, that doesn't mean I don't coach other people. I've coached people in the media, just people, professionals who work for industry on various things like confidence. And when a business person comes to me, yes, their biggest goal is to grow their company, but I don't know anything about their business, and I don't need to. What I'm working with there is their mindset. You asked a question there. An individual might be thinking, do I get a business partner or do I work on my own?
Yeah.
I can't advise them what's best for them, but what I do is I ask them questions that would allow them to come up with their answer. I would challenge their thinking. I would ask them questions like, well, what are the advantages of having a business partner? What are the disadvantages? What are the advantages of going alone? Yes, it may raise more questions, but what it allows them to do is to really, without distractions of a digital device, without being distracted by other people, to sit there in a space and really think. Because in this day and age, we don't think enough. We don't have the clarity around us. We're being bombarded all the time with information. In a coaching session, it's just you and me, without any distractions, and I allow them the space to really think clearly, to come up with their own answers, and that's the difference.
Okay, so tell me, so say somebody would like to come and talk to you. Say, for example, I'm going to come as your client. So no cell phones. It's going to be an identified time that you will be talking to each other.
Yes.
That is it like now virtually is being done, or
Yes, right.
would you prefer to do it as well as face-to-face?
My preference always used to be in person, so a lot of my coaching happened in London. But since the pandemic, but now most of my is over Zoom. Most of my coaching is over Zoom now, because I have international clients too. And to be honest, once I create that familiarity with a client, quite often, if say there's been reception issues, we've dropped to audio. So it's quite easy to have just a coaching session just over a phone call. And here's the reason why. When I'm asking a client a question, they're not in a physical space, they're in their mental space. So they're quite oblivious to where they are, who's watching them. I remember very early in my career, I used to do coaching sessions in coffee shops, because that's the space I had.
Yeah.
And, it'd be busy. And I remember coaching this one client. I remember she started crying because, she was, but I felt quite bad because we were in this cafe, everybody's there.
Yeah.
She didn't notice because she was in her own space. And that's the thing with coaching, you become oblivious. As long as I've created that connection, or we have that connection, and I'm asking the right questions, it doesn't matter whether we're in person, whether we're on video, whether we're on the phone, because the person's inside their own mind.
Yeah, wow, amazing. So you're like lost in space because you are just in this moment of, regardless of what the distractions around, you are into that. I mean, I suppose, I mean, what's very nice with what Dr. Rakish does, my friends, is that it is very scalable. I mean, like what we said, you have to have at least a minimum of 6 months engagement for coaching so you can see the progress and the results. Was there any time that you were consulting, or sorry, coaching someone and they were just like so hard-headed that whatever coaching you do, it just didn't work for them or something? They still got crazy and,
Yeah, no, you're right, Maria. And this is where the formal coaching training really helped, where it helps us identify the right kind of people for me. And to be honest, I'm very picky about who I coach. A lot of people I speak to, they say to me, "Oh, I'd love to be coached. I'd love to get a coach," but not everybody is coachable. There are a lot of people who need but can't be coached yet. Because there needs to be that awareness that they want to change. Sometimes they think that a coach is there to give them lots of answers. And like I said to you, I don't give answers. I'm there to challenge people. And sometimes people aren't ready to be challenged. So yes, early in my career, I would have clients where they thought they needed coaching, but in the end, what was happening, they weren't really taking on board. Maybe they started being late for sessions. And at that point, I would just say, look, there's no point in carrying on. I don't see the commitment. And it was an easy out. So I'd make it easy for them, saying, do you think it's better that we finish? And it would be easy for them to say yes, rather than drawing it out like a bad relationship.
Yeah, okay. So you just have to make it known to them.
Exactly. But I also let them know, because sometimes there may be other things going on, personal things. And that's happened with my clients. Maybe they're having relationship issues with a partner. So sometimes, even though we've been focused on business, what we're then able to do as a part of a coaching session is maybe talk about other things in their life. So maybe about communication, how to communicate better with your partner. Are they having conflict at work? Maybe just speaking, how could they better deal with conflict? So thankfully, because of my training, I guess, in my corporate world, I lend that to how to help other people. So it's not just through coaching, but how to be a better communicator, how to handle conflict better, how to handle challenging and difficult situations with people. So I try and help them with that. We get, help them through coaching.
That's right. That's right. So was there like a particular memorable case, perhaps, that was, would you say it was challenging, frustrating, or somehow very fulfilling for you? I'm sure you have.
I would say in the recent years, they've become a lot more fulfilling. And the reason for that is I've learned to let go. And I'd say this to a lot of my clients as well. It's about enjoying the process and not associating everything with an end goal. Because a lot of the times we chase things. We think, if we get this, I'll be happy. If I get this, I'll be more confident. And this was a journey I had to go through myself. So whereas earlier in my career, it may have been, oh, if my client becomes this, that's when I'll be happy. Or if my client really achieves this goal, that's when I know I'm a great coach. And inevitably, that doesn't always happen. Things change. And so what I learned to do was, I found out it's best for me to be the best coach I can be for them in that instance while we're having the coaching session and while they're with me. And as long as I'm doing well, I know that they will go on and be successful, whatever it is that they want to do, because they'll be taking on board, because I'll be present. I'll be being a better coach for them, rather than worrying too much about what is it that they're going to do. How is my success going to be perceived? And so by letting go, I've started to achieve a lot more. And a great success story for me, I think, was beginning of last year. I coached an individual of mine who's a very good friend now. We started middle of 2019. and coaching him on his business. So it was coaching on he was growing his business, but also wanted a more balanced life because obviously spending so much time working, not enough time for the family. And what happened was that through coaching, he achieved more balance, achieved more clarity, more direction in how he wanted to spend his life and how he wanted to grow the business. And then with obviously COVID hitting last year, the business really impacted him hard as it did with a lot of businesses. But it allowed him to pivot. It allowed him to focus on some charity work that he'd intended to do. The reason I coach is that I want to be able to make an impact. On my own, I know I can't make a huge difference in this world. But if I can coach people who are more connected, more affluent, or have bigger goals than I do, they can go on and achieve so much more and have a bigger impact on this planet for a more positive cause, let's say. So
That's
what
right.
my client and my friend ended up doing was created a charity. He's created a charity called the Vayu Foundation and the U Ocean Project, and he's looking to clean 1 billion kilos of plastic from the world's oceans and waterways. And
Wow.
there's chapters globally. He's already made a huge dent. He's been on the news. He's been featured in the news. And this is what,
Amazing.
It's a year and a half down the line, and it's just amazing. So for me to be able to see that and associate myself in terms of thinking, wow, my coaching in some way helped him achieve it. And therefore, if this goes on to be even bigger and better than we think, I'll have played some small part in doing that. So for me,
Wow, amazing. Yeah, so I suppose I would say that, that is really one of the things that you love most with the work that you do, right? Seeing people, do a dent or do something that would make a difference in the universe. Amazing. So I would say I'd like to entertain this question from Dexter. What is the best tips you can advise to aspiring coaches who wants to pursue the same profession? Thanks, Dexter.
That's a good question. I mean, it's a journey that I obviously went through myself. There's a lot of coaching material out there. Start reading coaching books, and there's a lot of coaches out there who haven't had formal training, which is also okay. My coach never did either. However, I do think that if you can get some sort of formal coaching where you get to experience coaching, and here's the thing, no matter what you do in life, forget coaching, forget anything, no matter whatever it is you want to achieve in life, until you start doing it, you'll never become good at it. So the sooner you can start coaching, the better. So if you can find a coaching school or a coaching academy that somebody can provide you training, but also give you hands-on experience with coaching, there's no better teacher. Experience in my eyes is the best teacher. So that's my thing. But supplement it with books, by reading, by watching YouTube videos, TED Talks. I think that's the best thing. And also speak to other coaches. Create a small community of coaches as well, where you can learn from each other.
That's right. That's wonderful. Thank you. I mean, I believe as well, Dr. Rakish, that, when we are with someone as well, who is really somebody who can, that you are in touch all the time, it really pays, because there's a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, that they become like inferior to what they can do or what they cannot do. What can you advise to them? Because there are some people that out of touch, like some people they lost their jobs, or some people, I'm just staying at home, tending for the family. Sometimes they lose that confidence. What can you say to them?
Confidence comes from action. Confidence comes from the last result we had. So I always say, do something, take action, but do it small. We hear these quotes everywhere. Just do it. Go out there and get your success. Nobody ever tells you how to do it, though. It's so easy to say those words, and I guess that's where a coach comes in, because really, it's great hearing this inspirational words. Go and get your success. Go do it. Fight for it. And nobody tells you how to do it, and the way to do it is to start small. Find the smallest thing you can do it, see the reward, see the success, and that gives you the confidence to do more. And that is key. Too often people have these goals, these dreams, and that's all they remain, because they don't break them down into small enough tasks to make them more manageable. I mean, how I'm sure in your life, Marites, and the people that you speak to, people have these amazing ideas that they want to create or they want to do, but they don't do anything with it. But you help them break it down into smaller areas of their life, or they'll say, well, try this bit first, do this bit first. And very soon, when you do all these small things, they combine together to create this big picture. It's the same thing with life. You've got to start small. You've got to start in one corner of your life first, then the other corner. You can't just do everything in one go. It becomes overwhelming. And when things are overwhelming, you don't do anything, you stay stuck, you lose more confidence, you lose more confidence, you lose your self-esteem. And that's when you find yourself not doing anything. So sometimes just start small.
Wow, that is a very, very great reminder, Dr. Rakish. It's true, right? So my friends, if you start big, I know people will keep saying like dream big, right? It doesn't mean that when you dream big, you have to start big. Yeah. But then you're so right. If you put them into smaller perspective first, and then start here from that corner, and then another one, and then when you put them all together, it's going to be big later. But it's amazing.
I'll give you an example. I mean, people look at, we look at nature. We see these amazing trees and we think, oh, would it be beautiful to have a big tree in our house?
Yes.
But you don't start with a tree in your house. You start with a seed. You put it in a plant pot. You nurture it. You put water on it. You give it sunlight. You see it grow. And that's the same with our goals. They've got to start somewhere small. It needs attention to them. And soon, one day, all of a sudden you wake up and there's your dream in front of you. You have that big tree in front of you. But the reason it's there, it wasn't an overnight success. It's because you nourished it, you nurtured it. It's the same with anything that you want to achieve in life. You've got to nurture, nourish, and give it attention.
Yeah, wow. I love it. Thank you so much. Here's another question for you from Carl. Coaching, is coaching the same as mentoring? Do we need to find a good mentor as a start? Thank you, Carl.
Great question. Great question. For me, when I'm with my clients, obviously they approach me because they want to coach. However, as I mentioned to you, mentoring is a lot more about advising. Mentoring is about, you would use a mentor. Say, for example, Marita, say, for example, there was another lady or a guy who wanted to do what you do. You would guide them. You would show them what you used to do, how to get to where you got to. That's mentoring because you're using your experience, your advice, and telling them what to do. Okay, so what my clients is, say if they want to be hugely successful business people, I'll say to them, look, I'll help you with your mindset. But my advice is to you, coming out of coaching, is to find yourself an amazing mentor. In fact, just not one mentor, multiple mentors.
Multiple mentors, yeah.
Create a mastermind group of mentors that can help you, support you, and give you guidance. As a coach, I would help you break through mental barriers, but I can only take you so far. I think it's very important that we have mentors throughout life, and our mentors will change depending on what we are doing in life as well. So it's very important.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's really true. It's like what I said, look around you and choose the right one. Choose the right person to be with. It really makes a lot of difference. And my friends, we are down into the last 7 minutes of the show. We have to catch up on another question from Miss Glor. Is there a specific academy or school or training to become a life coach? Thank you, from Miss Glor. Thank you, Glor.
Coaching is becoming very popular now, and since I graduated, maybe 6-7 years ago, I've seen so many more coaching schools out there. For me, if you're going to search for, you can search coaching. For me, the way I picked a coaching school, I wanted it accredited with one of the coaching governing bodies. I mean, coaching isn't a regulated industry, so it's important that for me personally, that I was associated with at least one of the governing bodies. ICF, you've already mentioned at the top of the program, International Coaching Federation. There's also the Association for Coaching as well, and then there's a European Coaching and Mentoring Council as well. So if one of the coaching training companies is associated with them, they're normally, a good coaching training company. As long as it's accredited for one of them, I think is a good approach.
Yeah, so Glor, it's you can check on the International Coaching Federation, and at the same time, you can maybe in the local, in the local place where you are right now, you can check on Association for Coaching as well, because that really help us. There is a question.
Yeah, a lot of the coaching training companies normally provide at least a half a day or a 1 day coaching experience, so they can
That's
show
right.
what they would do. So something to look out for.
Yeah, thank you. So now we're going to be like, before you entertain the last question, Dr. Rakish, can you please tell us again how we can find you, where can we find you, and any more inspirational information you can share to us?
So yes, as you mentioned, Dr. Rakish Rana, I'm the Clear Coach. So my social media tag is the Clear Coach. You can put it, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, it's the Clear Coach. In fact, Rakish Rana, if you Google me, I am the only Rakish Rana. It was a spelling mistake at birth, so that'll be easy enough for me to find. And the one thing I always say, I've talked about starting small. And some people might say, that's even a challenge for me. So the one most important thing is to remember your willpower will always fail you, but to create your environment. If you want to do something, make sure you have the right environment, not just only mentally, but physically too. So if you want to get into exercise, make sure that you have everything ready. If you want to go for a run as soon as you wake up, make sure everything's laid out the night before. Have your trainers, your gym stuff ready. That way, when you wake up, there's nothing for you to think about. The immediate thought is, I'm going to get into that. You need to make your difficult decisions very easy. And the only way to do that is to create the right environment. When you start focusing on the environment, you create it, it gives you confidence. And when you have that confidence, you'll start taking action.
Wow, very well said. Thank you so much. And to have you answer our last question from Miss Jink, how is counseling different from coaching? Are they the same? I know we already discussed this earlier, Jink. If you go back again, you can check this on our YouTube channel, Marites Allen. And again, you can replay this on YouTube. But just for the last time, Dr. Rakish, the difference between counseling and coaching.
Counseling, coaching, they both use very similar techniques, but counseling and therapy tend to be about healing and in the past and deal with a lot of issues in the past. And coaching is very much future focused and goal orientated. And that's the real difference. I mean, there are differences, but mainly that's what it is. Counseling is about the past, coaching is about the future.
So you see that, my friends, now we are learning. We have learned again another wonderful guidance from Dr. Rakish. And again, we can flash again where you can find Dr. Rakish, the clearcoach.com. That is his website, clearcoach.com. And of course, you can visit his website, Instagram, and Facebook. Dr. Rakish, the Clear Coach is all the same in all social media.
Correct. That's right. Yes. And my number's there, so I'm always happy to accept WhatsApps as well. So if people need to WhatsApp me, if it's easier, always happy to reply to those as well and respond.
Yeah, that's right. So my friends, you can message Dr. Rakish anywhere you are in the world. So again, thank you so much, Dr. Rakish. It's been wonderful to have you. I know you are very busy. It took us, my friends, 2 months to book Dr. Rakish because he was so very busy. So I really, really appreciate your time being with me today.
Thank you very much for having me on, Marites. Honestly, it's been a real blessing and a real privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. So my friends, once again, thank you so much for your company. I'll see you again on Wednesdays for my Filipino TV Europe episode, 1 p.m. And at the same time on Friday for my Friga Fashion Fridays. And again, please don't forget to follow Dr. Rakish, Dr. Rakish at clearcoach.com on Instagram, Facebook, and at the same time on his website. Thank you so much for your company. And please, of course, continue to like, share, and follow Marites Allen on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I love you all and have a great week ahead. Thank you.
Kung gusto niyo pong tuloy-tuloy ang swerte sa buhay, mga kaibigan, pwede po kayo mag-invest ng 9 Dragons Painting. Ito po ay nagsisimbolo ng inyong kasaganaan sa buhay ay pwedeng dumating sa iba't ibang maswerteng lokasyon. Maaari po maglagay ng mga well chips sa inyong bahay kung ikaw po ay isang negosyante or kung gusto mong umunlad ang inyong negosyo. Maaari po siyang lagyan ng mga coins or mga gold ingots para po punong-puno at maswerte ang daloy ng negosyo sa inyo. Alam nyo ba na dapat sa pagtulog, kailangan na isang buong cushion ang kanilang hinihigaan at hindi po dalawang single bed na magkadikit lamang because yung sa gitna na kanilang patlang ay posibleng magsimbolo ng hiwalayan na mag-asawa. Sa inyong mga living room or sofa, kailangan po maglagay ng mga cushions na merong mga mystic nut symbol. Ang mystic nut po mga kaibigan ay nagbibigay ng mga peace and harmony para sa pamilya.